If you have a meniscus tear, you might think you need to stop using your knee as much. And if you continue to run and lift weights and jump, you're going to make your knee worse. But here's what I want you to understand. Your meniscus is not the only thing providing protection and support for your knee joint. Your muscles play a huge role too. And once you understand that, it'll make a lot more sense why strength training is actually one of the most important things you can do when you have a meniscus tear. So that's what we're going to talk about inside this video. In part one, we talked about what the meniscus is and what it actually does. If you didn't see that video, go back and watch it because I use pictures and go in a lot more detail so you can have a full understanding of what the meniscus looks like and how it functions inside your knee and how it's going to impact how your knee actually operates on a day-to-day basis. But in short, your meniscus helps to spread pressure across your knee, helps you absorb shock, and contributes to your knee feeling stable. But your meniscus is not doing all of that by itself. Your muscles also help to absorb force, absorb shock, and help support the knee. So your quads, your hamstrings, your calves, your glutes, all of those muscles are working when you walk, when you squat, when you run, when you jump, when you go down the stairs, and lift weights. The way I like to explain it is like a group project. So let's say you're in school and there are 5 people working on a group project. Let's say one person is out sick for the week. And when that happens, we all know that doesn't automatically mean the entire group project is going to fall apart. Everybody isn't going to fail the group project just because somebody is out sick. It just means that other people in the group are going to have to pick up some of the slack. Your knee works the same way. Your meniscus is one part of the group. Your muscles are another part of the group. So if there's a change to your meniscus, that doesn't automatically mean your knee can no longer function well and that it can't be used. We can still work on making other parts of the system, other parts of the group stronger. And that's one of the reasons why strength training is so important. Think about what happens if you're diagnosed with a meniscus tear and your response to that is to completely stop using your legs. Your quads don't get stronger, your hamstrings don't get stronger, your calves aren't getting any stronger, your glutes aren't getting stronger. In fact, if you stop using them, they're going to get weaker. That saying, if you don't use it, you lose it, literally applies to your muscles, especially your knee. If you don't use your knee, you're going to lose the ability to use your knee. And what usually happens is people may have some pain. Initially, they find out they have a meniscus tear, so they stop all leg activities. And then the pain gets better on its own. And then they start to try to reintroduce some of these activities that were initially painful. And they start to try to squat, run, hike, play basketball because their knee is feeling better. But their knee starts to hurt again as soon as they start those things because you're now asking your knee to do all of the things that you spent the last few months avoiding and your body got weaker. And now at this point is no longer prepared to handle those activities. That's exactly why your goal should never be, or your thought should never be, how little can I use my knee? Your goal should be how strong and capable can I make my knee despite the structural change that has happened to my meniscus. And something that negatively impacts people when they have a meniscus tear is being told that they should do low impact exercises. So they're told swim, walk, bike, don't run. And honestly, there's nothing wrong with doing any of those with a meniscus tear. The only thing that is wrong when it comes to doing those things is if your body is not prepared to do so. There's plenty of people who run after meniscus tears without getting surgery. There's plenty of people who get back to jumping, get back to lifting weights. And honestly, when you really break down what impact is, none of those things except running and jumping are impact. Strength training is not impact. Doing squats, doing leg day is not impact. A leg press isn't impact. A deadlift isn't impact. A split squat isn't impact. Lunges aren't impact. The lifting weights aspect of strength training is not impact, and that's exactly what you can and should be doing within your modifications, within what your body can tolerate at that point. You cannot just say, oh, I have a meniscus tear, I can't do that, without even knowing if your body is physically capable of it. Because like I said earlier, there's tons of people who have no symptoms. They are completely asymptomatic. Yet if you take an MRI of them, they have a meniscus tear. So what does that tell you? That tells you that your meniscus tear doesn't always have to limit your physical activity. We just have to make sure that your body is prepared to do the things that you're trying to do. And now when I say that, it doesn't mean that every single activity that I just mentioned is appropriate for every single person on day one or as they are recovering from a meniscus tear initially. But I am saying we shouldn't automatically assume that removing strength training is the best option just because you have a meniscus tear. We have to figure out what your knee can actually handle and then go from there. And if that's the part you're struggling with, figuring out what your knee can handle, what you should be doing in the gym, and how to keep working towards your fitness goals, that's exactly why I created the Knee Lab. It's an online rehab and training program specifically for people who have knee issues like meniscus tears, where I teach you how to assess your knee, look at your strength, range of motion, movement, figure out what your knee needs, and then use the findings of those assessments to put together a plan to keep you on track towards your fitness goals while also getting your knee better. I created this because I don't want you randomly picking exercises off the internet and selling yourself short by telling yourself, oh, I can only do low impact exercises. I can't squat, I can't lunge, I can't lift weights. I want you to understand what your knee needs and how to train based on what it's actually capable of doing and getting better and building from there. So I'll put the link below if you want to join us. And I do want to make something very clear. Me telling you that you should be strength training does not mean that you need to go and push through pain and do squats and do lunges right away. I want you to do as much as you can, of course. But there's a difference between using your knee in a safe way and doing more than what your knee is currently ready for. You're never going to completely avoid putting pressure through your knee. You're going to put pressure through your knee when you stand up from a chair. You're going to put pressure through your knee when you walk, when you go up and down stairs, when you squat down to the toilet, when you get up from the toilet. Your knee is going to feel pressure in your day-to-day life, regardless of if you have a meniscus tear or not. So the goal isn't to figure out how to never put pressure and use your knee. The goal is to figure out what your knee can handle right now and build it up so it can handle more. And I'm not even just talking about the gym. I'm literally talking about your day-to-day life. So if those things are bothering your knee right now, the answer isn't to make your life smaller and avoid activity so your knee never gets irritated. We want to build up the knee so those things don't feel like such a big deal anymore. And strength training is literally the way we do that. So now you understand why strength training matters. I'm going to tell you exactly how to work out with the meniscus tear. But before we do that, we're going to talk about one last thing. And that's going to be the different types of meniscus tears out there and what the scary words on your MRI actually mean so that you can go into strength training a lot more confident than you would have without knowing this information. I'll catch you in the next video. Peace.